Hello, and thank you for attending this webinar on the future of marketing for small business. I'm your moderator, Jenny Alton from the New York Small Business Development Center Central Office. Today, we have as your presenter, Eddie Johnson, Managing Director of Rebel Visions Corporation. This webinar is brought to you by the New York Small Business Development Center network of 20 campus-based centers and many more outreach offices, which are located across New York State, along with the central office based in Albany. The NYSBDC is a U.S. Small Business Administration resource partner. Our free advising, education, research, and advocacy services are made possible by funding from the SBA, New York State, and our host campuses. So you know, this session is being recorded. We will share it with attendees in the next few days in a follow-up email. Attendees are muted and will not be on camera today. Your chats will only be visible to me and our presenters. If you have any questions during the presentation, please don't hesitate to type them in the Q&A box as they come up. You can open Zoom's Q&A box from the Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom window. Eddie will take a few pauses during the presentation for questions, and time permitting, we'll have a Q&A session to address any more questions at the end of the presentation. And with that, we will transfer over to the main event. Eddie, take it away.
Good day, everyone. I hope all is well with you and yours. So today we're going to be discussing marketing for for small and medium-sized businesses. Truthfully, if you really think about what I'm giving you, this can be easily applied to even startup businesses. So the first question that I have is always going to be, let me share my screen because, got to get that out of the way. The biggest question I have for people is, do you understand your demographics? Right? That's always the first thing that you need to understand is, are you bringing the right things to market? The second thing, well, the first thing is services, then it's demographics, then competition, then resources, then marketing, right? It's an easy process. First, your services. Have you pinpointed the right services for the right market that leads you into demographics? What is your market, right? Then that easily leads you into, great, I've identified the services, I've identified the market. Now I want to identify my competition. Then you start to realize, okay, so if I'm going to attack all of that, what are the resources that are available to me to get it done? Once I've listed out, taken an inventory of all my resources, that could be computers, equipment, people, services, all of that. And of course, that includes knowing what your budget is and what your costs are associated with all of those resources, because you need to understand what it's going to be to get it done, and then what it's going to be to tell people about what you have and everything that you've got. That leads you into marketing. So let me just click through to the next one. Yeah. So do you know what you're bringing to market? And really, I'm going to tell you now, feel free to ask questions. Jenny will let me know if there are questions there that need to be answered. I don't mind taking a pause to answer a question if I think that question is really good. So not sure why that bounced back. So the first one, do you know what you're bringing to market? And some people say, well, why am I taking a marketing class and you're starting off over here? It's because this is your foundation, right? This is where you hone everything. What services am I bringing to market? What's the core purpose? Identify why your business exists and the benefits of that business, right? Then you want to understand what your target customer is. Understand who needs your product or service, even if they're not aware of it. Sometimes the best businesses are born from, that's right, you guessed it. It didn't exist. Back in the day, you want to know what didn't exist? What didn't exist were Post-its. People were writing things down on pieces of paper, and pieces of paper would just go flying everywhere. And it sounds like a simple, easy thing, but yeah, somebody slapped some glue on it and put it up on a refrigerator, and now you've got a Post-it. So sometimes businesses are born from things that people didn't realize they needed. Back in the day, I didn't think I needed a push button to operate my car, but I do, and I can't live without it now. Then understand what your customer needs are, the specific needs of what your business, your products or services fulfill, right? Then you want to perform a self-analysis. Would you personally buy your product or service? Right? And you really want to understand, would I actually buy my product or service? Would my friends buy my product or service? And then you keep radiating out from there. That will help you hone your products and services. And what else it'll do is help you hone the messaging that you use. I don't know if you've ever taken the time to actually stop and listen to yourself when you're describing your business to different people and how it varies from person to person. And then all of a sudden you find that you hit a certain groove and you can just rattle it off real quick. That's the development of your elevator pitch, that 30-second thing that you can give that says, this is what my company is about. This is the problem that we solve. I notice that you have the problem. This is why you should work with us. Boom. Really simple, really fast, really quick. What are your core beliefs? Ensure your products align with your core beliefs, forming the basis of your brand reputation. Now, take that in a little bit because that's actually a very big deal. Excuse me. What is the reputation that you want to have associated with your brand? And everybody will just be like, oh, the best reputation. Let's dig a little bit deeper and get a little bit deeper into what your reputation is and what your brand is, right? Because there are lots of good things out there, there are lots of bad things out there, but sometimes even good things are not good to be associated with your brand. So understand what your brand is. And again, all of this leads up to how do I market and what tools are available to me to market. Then you want to understand what your customer perception is. This is why you go through that whole awareness campaign. What is it that you're doing? How is it that you're doing it? How is it that you're introducing it? How and why? All of that comes together. Now I'm going to pause for a second and ask, do you guys have any questions thus far?
We don't have any questions at
Cool.
this point, so carry on.
Cool. Nothing in the chat?
Nope, we're good. That was me saying something
Okay.
to them.
Phew. All right, cool. So then you understand, you have to understand your demographics. Do you know what customers in the market are in the market for and what you're selling, right? And you start to look at that from a business to business, business to consumer, direct to consumer, right? Maybe you're more of a warehousing company, more of a wholesale company, and you're looking to go direct to consumer and kind of bypass, all the middle people that are in between, right? So you understand all of that. And how you understand all of that is producers. What kind of business are you? Are you a producer, a reseller, an institution, think nonprofits, a government entity, which most of us are not, and common B2C demographic factors, right? And you can also use some of those factors across for business to business as well. Some of those factors would be like, race, ethnicity, age, gender, education, income, marital status, occupation. And some of those things sound not so good, but it's all about understanding your customer. I mean, think about it. If you are, let's say, an Indian cuisine restaurant, you would be shopping to who? You would be shopping those wares or that food to who? Or maybe you're a big warehouse and you sell spices for that business. Who are you selling to? Foodies, but pretty much that Indian market. So you need to know who's going to buy, right? And each one of these things leads you to have a deeper level of understanding of what your business does, a true understanding of what your business does, and for what business group you do it for. Businesses, consumers, right? So producers, businesses that manufacture products or provide services to other businesses. Resellers, businesses selling products produced by other companies, right? Or other services. Institutions, nonprofits focused on usually focused on education, healthcare, or research. Now, those could be, customers. I don't fall in that group, but could I sell to the SBDC? What kind of products and services do they need? So I pinpoint that. And then how would it be that I get that business? So all of these things start to create and form the basis for your marketing strategy, right? What else? All you need to do is just make note of this. Make note of all of this information so that every time you're speaking with somebody, you understand what bucket they fall into. And you can kind of understand from what perspective are they looking at your product or service. Am I buying for personal use? Am I buying for business use? How many am I going to buy? How often do I need to buy it? So on and so forth. Okay. So I see that there's a question. Let's see.
There is. So this attendee is asking if they are doing a startup that is a luxury activewear business. How can they research the demographic and customers? They know that they're looking for 35 to 60-year-olds, but are lost on researching more information about the demographic. So what advice can you give?
For that specific kind of business, if you're selling that kind of clothing, where are they going to wear it? They're going to wear it at a gym. They're going to wear it at, the track because maybe they do walking. Where do you expect your people to wear it? And then you can start to understand how you can identify that demographic. So if you expect them to wear it at the gym, make friends with a gym owner, make friends with a gym manager. Walk in. If you have a membership, walk in and see who's there. Sometimes you can get the demographic straight from those websites of who's showing up and who's not. And you might actually wind up seeing a wide variety that fits from, let's say, 20-year-olds, because I have a kid that's, in their 20s and they've got a gym membership. They fall below your 35, your 35 number. So is that 35-year-old the lowest? Or do you think that's your sweet spot? That's what you have to determine. That's actually a really good question. Let me know if that actually answered your question. If it does not and you have follow-on questions, feel free to ask. So let's get to competition. Do you know who's already in your market space? Take this young lady. Fabletics is already in that space. There are so many companies in that space. What are you doing that's different? What styles do you have that are better? Right? Is it waterproof because you're selling footwear, or what is it? You're most welcome, by the way. What else is there that you're doing that might be different? Now, I will also say, even though that space has a ton of competitors in it, in that particular space, in my humble opinion, there's room for more, right? Because you might not have the yellow that I'm looking for, and they've got it, and it looks nice, and it fits because they had my size. I'm walking out the door with it. Let's rock. Let's go get my sweat on, because I've put on a couple of pounds. So you want to do a competitive analysis, overview study rivals to learn from their successes and their failures in terms of strengths, weaknesses, products, and marketing strategies. The reason why you want to do that is you want to know, what are they doing? And then you get to nitpick on what you think they're doing right that's leading them to whatever level of success, and what you think you can improve upon that can add to your own success. Maybe they're not addressing something, or maybe they have a fault someplace, and you can exploit that. And that might be good. Your approach to review competitors based on their reach, ranging from local to international. What I've learned is I start right here, physically where I'm at, right? Or if my case is not a physical thing, maybe I'm not opening a store per se, but I have reach. Where does that reach start? Pick that middle point and then radiate out. So when I first got into the business, you got to sell. If you're an owner or a salesperson, if you're an owner, you are a salesperson. So I learned that I was in a business building, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to start here and radiate out. I'm going to hit every office in that building. Obviously, I'm old, so it was way before security got turned on the floors and everything, and before you could have to hit security before you walked in the building. But back then, I would just walk in and hit that building. And in Manhattan, you could easily hit 100 different companies in the building. You want to get in and get out, get in, drop off your information, get out. That was my approach to understanding who was there, who was not there, what your needs are. Sometimes I got sales right on the spot. Sometimes I got chased out of the office. It happens. But that review helped me to start to understand things, right? And I wasn't just going in the building to sell. I was in a building where I had competitors. What are you doing? How are you doing? This is before the proliferation of the internet. You had to do, your feet where your internet. Okay, we'll get to the questions in a minute. Collaboration. Don't hesitate to consider opportunities, where your competitors may have missed. And don't be afraid to collaborate with larger organizations. Larger organizations, get so big sometimes that they can't get down to customers that are too small for them because it costs them too much to do so. But they may be happy to hand off customers that they cannot address, right? I gave an example. I was at, an SBDC meeting at TD Bank, and the example was, listen, you're a CPA, and I happen to know of a company that is only looking at customers that make $1 million and above. So what happens to those customers that are below $1 million? I happen to know one of the partners. They're very strict about it. They won't even think about it. Friends, family, they don't care. They do not care. So under $1 million, they weren't paying attention to. But you know how many people called up that were under $1 million? Well, I got 750. Come on, you can. Nope. And they didn't necessarily have a go-to to hand them off, which means that you need to network and find companies that, might be able to throw you business. One or two of those companies could make your year. Really depends on the situation. So don't be afraid of collaboration. Sometimes competitors can be your best friends, especially if you don't overlap all the way, if there's only a minimum of overlap. So that means they're competitors, but not fully in your space, or you're not fully in their space. So it makes sense for them to actually throw business your way. Then you have a growth strategy, establishing informal or formal agreements with competitors that can lead to rapid business growth. Meaning, there's a large competitor in Westchester who's a CPA firm. They only deal with 100 million, $1 million people and above. Great. How about we make a deal where you give me everything below $1 million and I'll pay you for that business, like a sales number. Sometimes you have to give to get. All right. Now we seem to have a lot of questions. Let's tackle those questions.
So this attendee would like to know, how do you get this information if there isn't much competition around?
There isn't much competition around. There's always competition, number one, whether it be at-home solutions, right? Whether it be at home or in business solutions, or there truly is, you're doing something 100% brand new, in which case your demographic is going to be who your competitor is. And then I will give you more homework, and that homework is going to be, what are the barriers to entry to becoming your competitor? Now I want you to do the homework. Now I'm going to actually want to know if you did the homework. So my contact information is right there. So I'm definitely going to want to know. What's the next question?
Someone was just liking a comment that you made, so we're
Cool
good.
bean.
Carry
Cool
on.
Somebody laughed, my feet are my internet. They were. They absolutely were. There's no joke. Your resources. This is huge. This is huge. I can't tell you how big this is. So many people get involved in businesses and have not a clue as to what their resources are. Not a clue, right? And I don't mean, do you just have a computer? Do you have access to the internet? I'm talking about things like, do I have Microsoft Word? Do I have Zoom? Do I have Microsoft Teams? Do I have Photoshop or some kind of, graphic application? Do I have PowerPoint for presentations? Do I? And so many people don't list those things out. Here's something else that they don't list out. Do I have friends that can perform some of the services that I need? And then would they be interested? Then a better question is going to be, do they have a business that I should be leveraging to perform these services, and vice versa? Right? Because what I see all the time are people go to their friends and say, hey, can you do this for free? They're in business to put food on their table. Don't do that. Don't ask them that. Say, hey, I'd like to use you to do this service, and leave it up to them if they want to give you a discount or not. Remember, they have to eat the same way you want to eat. So what's that list of people or businesses that you're friendly with that are resources for, have necessary things for what you need to get done? And of course, that means you need a list of what you need to get done, right? You need that inventory. So I'm expecting you to have that or develop that. It's very important. It's more important than you think. Seriously, old school? Yes, it is old school. You just called me old. The nerve.
Not you, Eddie, just the feet on the street. But hey, it still works.
They both fit. It's definitely true. And then you want to have a customer-centric approach. It might sound funny that you would say something like that you would think that, but you always want to take the approach of knowing what your customer is thinking or what your customer could think when you introduce a new service, change a service. That is actually a very big deal. Especially, I mean, there's a sauce that I like, right? I love chicken wings, and I use different sauces, and there's one sauce that I like, sow sauce. And sow sauce I used to be able to get at Wegmans. It's upstate, it's a regional sauce, right? And it's hard to get. I used to be able to get it at Wegmans. Went to Wegmans. They don't have it anymore. What? That's a big change. What does that mean? Are you guys going out of business? Like, what do you mean? Am I going to have to find an alternative source? Big changes without, understanding your customers, your demographics, anything else like that, not having a website that can actually describe that to people. That's a big deal. All right. Leveraging support. If you're not paying, use it sparingly. If you are paying, treat it like a business deal. Understand what they need, what you need, and work that all out. And remember, business is business. And you're both in it to try to, or all of you are in it to try to make money. But understand what your needs are, prioritize your needs, and match them to your resources and how you can get that all done. And by that, now you should know here's the inventory of needs, here are the inventory of resources, and that will give me how much money I need to spend to get this stuff done. And then I can figure out what prioritization I need to get that stuff done, to move things over into the completed column. Another question?
Yeah, so this person says they have a product which can technically benefit most people, but they feel like it should be more targeted. So how would you go about researching customer persona to get into that most favorable market for a product?
You should still be able to make a list of, what markets it suits, because nothing is everyone. One size does not fit all. Right? So if there are 10 groups and you fit 8, okay, great, you fit 8. Maybe you fit all 10, but then you'll start to realize I fit all 10, but those two end ones, yeah, they only fill up this much. And maybe that graph goes like this, or maybe that graph goes like this. That's how you can start doing your research. And that's when doing, competitive research helps, because you'll start to understand, well, my competitors are selling to this group and they seem to be doing really well. Start to listen to their messaging. Who are they speaking to? So do you at least know who your competitors are? Because if you know who your competitors are, again, great source of information. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You're going to have to do some research so you can hone it around your own business, but there's going to be a bevy of information right there. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yes, and feel free to ask follow-up questions on that if you have more. Okay, so we have a question in the chat, Eddie, if you want to look there. This person is looking at partnering potentially with government and not having these services in the marketplace. So they're wondering about strategy on that. So if you're able to read that, you can get some more detail.
Ooh, let's see. To partner government and industry. Which industry? Which aspects of the government? Which municipality level? You know, town, city, state, federal. What is it that you're looking for? Are going to be some of the questions that I'm going to ask. Eliminate these services in the marketplace. Do I convince the government to set up shop on a busy highway or business to get the government program? Or I think what you're really asking is, how hard is it to get involved with the government? Tons of paperwork, and that means you're kind of looking for government grants, and that could take a minute. If you want to partner with the government, then what branch of the government, what agency would that fall under? So that's going to take some research, because the United States government is the world's largest customer. They buy everything. You could think that they're not going to buy what you sell. They will buy it. They want it. My sister does, hair care products. Guess what? They want it. Who'd have thought? Government hair care. Seriously? Yes. So understand where are you looking at it? Emergency housing for disasters, low income, homeless, abused, unhoused. There are tons of programs in that space. Tons of programs in that space. Section 8 is one of them. There are also NGO organizations, or non-governmental organizations. That's what NGO. So I literally just said non-governmental organization. Sorry about that, guys. Those NGOs also do things, and they're usually powered by government grants and things like that. But you want to understand what projects are out there that already exist and how you can work yourself into those programs. Are you building the shelters? Are you flipping, tenements to serve those services? I remember there used to be a group. One of my cousins owns property in New Jersey, and they used to work with a group that only worked with battered women. And so she rented out her housing to battered women, to that organization. And that organization worked differently than Section 8. Section 8 will tell you, we'll give you a check and we'll give you like 75, 80% of the money, or whatever that number is. And the person's responsible for the rest of it. This organization paid you for everything because they were renting it, and then they would give it to whoever it was that needed the additional help. So you're going to have to do some deep dive research into the government agencies that have it, right? And then who responds to those disasters where housing is necessary. Maybe you sell great tents and they're perfect for those kinds of situations. Okay, great. You're going to have to identify those agencies. Sometimes those agencies actually have buying power, and you can sign some contracts by going in and doing bids on those contracts, so on and so forth. So that's the kind of research that you're going to have to do. Good question, though. Very good question. Oh, that's why it keeps moving. My mouse wheel. It's cool. Did the competition, resources we spoke about. Let's get to marketing. This is the big daddy of them all. This is why we're spending the most time on it. And I'm actually going to read you the slide, and obviously we're going to go deeper into it. How are you promoting your business in the marketplace? Understanding your business. Comprehensive knowledge of your business is essential. That's why we walk through steps 1 through 4. That's what comprehensive means. All the way down deep. How much money do you have for marketing? Well, all that's going to tell you how much it's going to take. Well, that's all that work that you just did. If you collect it in one spot, you'll be able to go through it and you'll see how much money you have to get all of it done and how much money you have to actually start marketing. Another good question, a hidden question that you're going to have to be able to answer is, would I be able to pre-market my products and services? Like, can I actually sell my products and services before they're ready? And in some cases, the answer is yes. In a lot of cases, the answer is no, but sometimes the answer is yes. And that's actually a really big deal. I'll give you an example. We have a web hosting company. And my web hosting company, it's built on Microsoft Azure. We happen to be a Microsoft partner, and we can do all kinds of things with our hosting company. I mean, we host everything from brochure websites to e-commerce websites. We even host social media platforms. But it took time. You see how I rattled off all those services? It took time for us to be able to have all those services. Other services we have, yeah, we incorporated AI into our platform before even Microsoft had AI built into Microsoft Office. Before they rolled out Copilot, we already had it, right? But it took time to get there. But we were able to sell some of those services before we actually had them up and running. You can, if you have an e-commerce shop, you can accept, crypto, right? Who's doing that? Not a lot of people, but it's a selling point for me, and we get to talk about it. So between credit cards, PayPal, and crypto, people are sitting there going, oh, didn't know you could do that. Yes, I'll pay for that now. And by the time you're done building my website, I'm up and running and I'm off to the races enjoying all these tools. So sometimes you can do that. And I would beg of you to look to find out if you can start to sell before you have it. Happens a lot in the clothing industry. So that young lady who's selling, athletic wear to the age group of 35 to 60, guess what? Takes time to make it. But sometimes if you're trying to sell to a store or a boutique, they know they've got to order. They know they've got to order. Takes 6 to 8 weeks to make it. Great. They give you half the money up front. You now have operating capital to go make the stuff and then keep it moving. And hopefully, if you're bright, you've set your price so that when they give you 50% up front, a portion of that is already putting you in the black. Just an idea. Just an idea. But you want to be able to do something like that. You want to do that level of research. You want to dig down for that. Marketing essentials. Marketing involves market research, analysis, strategic development, trend marketing, pricing, and advertising campaigns. In other words, you need to have a strategy. And you can only develop a strategy if you have all of those building blocks. Once you have 1 through 4 done, those are your 4 building blocks. This number 5 becomes your 5th building block, upon which all of those you will build your business. The stronger your building blocks, the stronger your foundation. The stronger your foundation, hopefully the stronger your business. Hence, prioritization is a very big deal. Sounds nuts, but trust me, it's a very big deal. Understanding how to price your product. Understanding where to place your product. Understanding how to hone your product to better address the area that you're in, right? One of the coolest things, if you're looking at athletic wear, the pants, have a pocket, have at least one pocket. Women need at least one pocket. One pocket's going to hold the thin wallet, maybe a couple of credit cards, 1 or 2 or something like that. And the other one's going to be a phone. Got to have music while you're working out, right? So understand what everybody's looking for. Sometimes it's style, sometimes it's practicality. And I need you to take a deep dive in that. The better you know your business, the better you understand what you're doing, the better it is for you to understand who you're selling to and why you're selling to them. Very, very, I can't tell you how much of a big deal it is. Understanding who your demographic is and why. It's huge. Then the key steps for your strategy. Business basics, online presence, and networking. Start with business basics. Establish your contact details, including a business phone, business phone number, professional email address, and a way to quickly give somebody that information. Now, a lot of people used to think, oh, you got to have business cards made. Pause. Who doesn't have a cell phone? Which means you have a contact database on that phone. Do I get one of those electronic ones where I can just, zap it over to you? Probably cooler. I can hold up a QR code that gives you all the information you need. Boop, just zap that. Done. I'm now in your contacts. Or I hold it up and boop, puts you on my webpage with all my contact information, plus a little bit more information about what we do, why we do it, how we do it, and why you need to work with us. Every time you interact with somebody, if you're a small business person, it is an opportunity to market and advertise your brand every single time. I don't care if you're talking to the post office guy. I don't care. I don't care if you're talking to the person walking the dog in front of your house. Same thing. Always ready to talk about your business, always ready to give them contact information instead of fumbling around your phone. Everything, 30 seconds. Boom, 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 boom. Here you go. Love to talk to you, or send you something in the morning or later this afternoon, yada, yada, yada. Efficiency. People love that. People love that. All right. Networking. Build a word of mouth and spillover business network. This is an old school thing that still applies to this day, and it'll never change. All right. The better you understand the people that you're marketing to and what they need and how they want to receive it. Also, big one, hidden gem, market to people where they want to be marketed to. I'll say it again. Market to people where they want to be marketed to. Some people, give you an example, some people are, Instagram freaks. Some people are Facebook freaks. Some people, love, in-person networking. Some people you can reach by just having it on the message board at the supermarket. Get to people where they are. And you're going to find that once you understand your demographic, you'll understand where they are. You'll understand where you can hit them. That's the idea. Okay, that's a big thing that you should be putting your pin in and saying, I'm always going to have that up in my face. And that's what I'm going to pay attention to, because I'm going to start to understand I'm advertising across these markets, across these medium, and this one is working, this one is not. This one is working, this one is not. The time frames, like I do for it every morning, I do every morning, actually every night, and over the weekends, I do a video on investments. Whether whether you are a business person or just a regular person, it's called Roll My Bag. And every morning I shoot these videos and I do the videos, all that good stuff. But I pay attention to when people are consuming my videos on a daily basis. Sunday through Saturday, what are the gem times that people are watching my videos? That's how I do it. So I figure, okay, I better have my videos done by that time. And I'm also paying attention to when I do lives and when I can do pre-recordeds. Understanding that my reach is international, I'm paying attention to where people are. I did a webinar yesterday, and we were speaking, and somebody from Europe, actually we had a few people from Europe. One person actually signed on and said, hey, I'm dropping off the kids, but I'm listening to you right now. I'll send you my questions. You're dropping off your kids at school. Wow. So understand where your people are at and how you can reach them. Some people are on LinkedIn. Some people don't want to use LinkedIn. They can't stand it. So they're over on Twitter or X. People are starting to leave TikTok or having alternative means for TikTok. And that's usually Instagram Reels and YouTube, definitely YouTube. So you want to understand how that works. Here's something else that you should have in your back pocket. Artificial intelligence. Are you leveraging AI to create your messaging, to help you create your messaging? I'm not saying you type something in and it gives you something, you automatically use it. I'm saying leverage that to create something that could wind up being better than what you actually have. Leverage what's there, because that might actually give you something that's better and give you something that you add to your resources. I now have an assistant that can help me with copy. I now have an assistant that can help me respond to social media requests. All of those things should be on your resource roster. You should understand how much that costs, everything else. That's why you do it. Wow, we have a lot of questions. I better get to those. What kind of questions do we have? I'm so sorry.
Okay, we've got some great questions. So this attendee has a personalized handmade wreath housewarming gift packaging business. That was very long to say, but their target audience is real estate professionals. They found one indirect competitor that does different types of personalized items, not the wreaths, and whose target audience is the same. There are also some additional businesses in the personalization market. So their question is, what advice would you give as to where they should focus on their competition? Just that main direct competitor, or should they also include some of these other personalization companies as well?
What products I would be looking at what products they have that can overlap my products, meaning do they sell the same products? This one company you said, well, they don't do wreaths, but they do the other stuff. How easy would it be for that company to get into doing wreaths? How popular are wreaths, right? Because that's not where I'm at. I move into my new house and somebody hands me a wreath, I'm going to be happy that you handed me something. That's nice. It's always nice. However, not really a wreath kind of guy. So what else you got? Just wondering, just wondering. So what are the products that are selling for you? Where are they selling? The geographic information, again, something else we should be paying attention to. And what are your competitors selling? Now, I asked you the question of how easy would your competitors be able to sell your stuff? The question is now, how easy would it be for you to sell their stuff? Right? Because sometimes, again, remember what I said earlier in the conversation? Sometimes they're in business first, they're doing something new. However, they have a hole that you might be able to fill. And that could be one of the holes. Hopefully I answered your question.
So this person had a follow-up question as well. So your comment about the government being the biggest customer, do you believe that that type of business, personalized handmade housewarming gift packages, would have a place as a supplier?
I will repeat myself. The US government buys dang near everything. Like, I'm not exaggerating. I'm dead serious. So they might not buy a wreath, but they might buy your other products. And guess what? They probably would take the wreath too. Remember who the US government represents. It's everybody. Everybody. I'll say it again. Everybody. So everybody's got different tastes, different wants, different needs, different this, different that. You're in the military, you're flying off, doing whatever, and your family is back home. You're being moved to another position. I'm speaking from experience because my brother was in the military. And so you want to send them a little goodie bag, a little housewarming. My brother was going to Germany. I wanted him to have something when he got there. So what would I have done? Personalization? Yeah. There are tons of businesses out there that specialize in personalization, but sometimes their market is not the market that you're in, right? I know if I have a friend that does personalization. He's focused on colleges. Is he a competitor? Not really. Kind of, I guess. He does personalization. But is he selling to your demographic? No, probably not. So hopefully that answers your question too.
And I'll just add to that. So we have some fantastic research specialists at the NYSBDC who can help you look for opportunities that maybe you didn't even know existed. We also have some excellent procurement specialists who look specifically at selling to the government and how to do it best. So that would be a great thing to get in touch with your SBDC local center about. All right, so we have a follow-up question to our earlier question on a product having broad appeal to many demographics and narrowing in on that. So this person asked, do you know of any good research tools to figure out what customer persona they are targeting with marketing? Like, I mean, are there ways to check their SEO or something else? What tools are out there, Eddie?
Um, so what tools are out there to help you develop your customer persona? Who's your customer? And then you can start doing research on that demographic. What is it that they use? How often do they work out? Um, what do they eat? Where are the places that they're going? How are they spending their money? We just got GDP data. People are saving their money, not spending big, on big things. One of the things that I teach to people is always do your own research and dig in. So yes, SBDC has great information. Your job is to take that information and dig even deeper. Now, what tools are there out there? Once you have certain pieces of information, you really can leverage AI to start helping you do some of that research. Start honing in on things. You really can. Ask it the right questions, do the right prompts, and you could do those kinds of things. I do it all the time. All the time. Of course, I'm a techie, so I'm really good at creating prompts. My whole team, we taught the whole team how to develop their own prompts. And don't fall for a company that tells you we can develop a prompt for you and that's it. That's the end all for the prompts for that particular thing. It's not. AI changes, and thusly your prompts need to change as well. Those companies that are giving you these prompts that are 50 million pages long, no, that's not how it works. It's not how it works. So you're going to always want to tap into that. But that is a brilliant tool to use. Attach your work that you get with the SBDC, your local office, ask them to do the broad stroke research, take that research, hone it for your specific needs, then use AI to hone it even more. And then you can literally ask AI, what's that persona? And that could be, what is the specific person or entity? Hopefully that answers your question.
So, Eddie, when you say about using AI, specifically, what tool are you using when you put in these prompts?
Are you trying to ask me trade secrets? No, just joking. So,
yes, definitely.
So my company, and I have to say this, my company, I own a tech company. So the same way I have the business management consulting firm, a part of that firm is a technology company. We leverage flipping everything. So from Claude to ChatGPT to Gemini from Google, we leverage all of them. Here's why. What you get from one may not be what you get from another. And so now you have all of these resources that you can now look at and pore over and start to hone. Here's something else. When you're using AI, you can literally tell. So if you're using ChatGPT, for example, you can literally say to ChatGPT, ChatGPT, you are assuming the role of a senior marketing analyst. Your job is specifically geared toward business intelligence and market research. Then you ask it your question. Please tell me the top blah, blah, blah companies or types of companies that are offering this types of service to such and such demographic in such and such geographic area. You'll get an answer. Probably won't be the best answer in the world. And then you can start to hone the answer. You can start to hone the question to get to the information that you want. And then you do that across each one of them to get the best answer. And then you see what fits for your company. And that's how you start developing your persona. That was a doggone good question. Thank you very much.
Thanks for a doggone good answer, Eddie. So how much presentation do you have left? Because I want to make sure we get to all of your material.
Ta-da!
Oh, okay, great. Do you want to cover this and then we'll follow up on questions?
I've mentioned a few things. We've got decades of experience doing what we do, helping small businesses, helping businesses in general, even at the startup level, what to do. We've recently worked with Current Care to create a social platform, a social and educational platform for the healthcare industry. And that was a huge undertaking. And guess what? It's been well received. We just came back over the weekend from a conference, the Oncology Nursing Society's International Conference. was this past weekend, and it was very well received. If you're building your website, we already have a web company, and within that web company, we already have AI built in. We already have Web3 built in, meaning you can accept cryptocurrencies, PayPal, and everything else for your e-commerce site. What you also get is you get to tap into a company that's been doing consultative services for decades, literally decades, to both Fortune 100 companies and smaller. Because what we're trying to do is bring that level of service, that level of information, all the way down to the startups that are here. Okay? Because the idea is we want to be able to help your companies grow. And if we can help 100 companies grow, that's more fun for us. So that's what we do. So feel free to reach out. The QR code is there. My information is at the bottom of the screen. You can always reach me, 914-458-1812. You can reach me at makeithappen@rebelvisions.com. Real simple, real quick, and we're more than happy to help out. We actually found, or Current Care found us during a webinar just like this one for one of the regional offices for the SBDC. So there is a perfect example of a win. This woman is going to completely disrupt healthcare education, meaning she's developed a platform, or we've developed a platform for her that will help her deliver CEs, or continuing education credits, that nurses need and other healthcare professionals need to continue working, as well as creating that social media piece where they can come in, truly network, and truly learn from each other. And the next piece that we're adding on is actually the ability to add their resumes to that platform. So yeah, we're doing a lot. So hopefully we can do a lot for you. Okay, I'm done with my spiel. What else do we have?
Okay, we have someone who's opening an arcade in a small town and has grand ideas for marketing and promotion. I know, it sounds so cool, right? So is it possible, in your opinion, to overmarket because the town is small? And also, when would this person want to start marketing and promotion? Is it ever too early to do so?
Yes, it can be too early. It is not a good idea. It is absolutely not a good idea. It could be a fantastic idea. Okay, a fan-flippin-tastic idea. So a close friend of mine is a graphic designer, and he happened, was going through college. How he helped earn extra money was working at one of these kinds of places, except this place was a virtual reality space. So not only did they have the arcades and everything, but they tacked on this whole virtual reality thing. That became so successful that they started focusing on the virtual reality stuff. I would say in your business, I would be paying attention to, well, you say it's a small town. Great. What about the nearby towns? There are people that travel from other towns to get to this place where my friend works. Just saying. So I'd be looking at things like that. Now, as far as too early, let's get into this one because this one's good. You actually have to have the space. So if you know you're going to open up in, a month, you can start putting things out there about, what's coming and everything that's going on. Something else that people do not leverage that they really should, and I just want to kick them in the tushy because they don't enough. Did you know most small towns will actually give you a ribbon cutting? They will actually give you a ribbon cutting. And that is just awesome. And the reason why is because it really puts it out there. That means the local mayor's office or whoever's going to cut the ribbon is going to be there. It'll be on their website, your website, and you get to splash that all over the place and milk it dry. And you really want to make sure that you reach out to as many nearby towns as possible. I know of such a place where they have a jumpy space, nothing but trampolines for the kids. And I'm in New York, they're in Connecticut. People from New York drive to Connecticut just to go there. And I'm not saying it's right across the border. I'm saying you got to drive into Connecticut for that. It's about an hour away, 45 minutes, hour away. I've driven my kid there. That people have held birthdays there that live here. So yeah, your idea, people want to have fun. And then you have so many follow-ons that come with that. Oh my Lord. I would spend all day doing that. What? Oh, I hope you need my services. Oh, I would have so much fun. What other questions do we have?
Okay, we have a person who is wondering where to start if they're low on time and money at this point. What can they start with around marketing their business?
Start with a task list. Because usually the problem is I don't have the time because I gotta go make money. So start with the task list. Create your task list and just spend. I literally just spoke with somebody the other day about how much time they can spend doing what they need to get done and how much time they can give to it. Maybe it's 30 minutes. I wrote a book. I wrote a book 30 minutes a day. And then of course, obviously that time grew, but I started with 30 minutes a day for like 2 weeks because I'm like crazy busy, but I got the book out there. Oh, I forgot to talk to you about the book. Can I just do one more? I actually have a book, right? Crypto Foundations for Building what Generational Wealth with Crypto. It's really a really good guide on how to work with cryptocurrencies and why businesses should actually start accepting crypto because it's here. What else is there? I love your enthusiasm, Mr. Johnson. Thank you, Corrine Rogers.
Hey, we have a couple things in the chat if you want to look there. This person has a question about virtual reality and the real estate space.
um, I'll answer that real quick. Somebody's trying to get me involved in that. It is a good space. I know that there are spaces that are there that you'd be able to leverage. There are people that are building things using Horizons. So that's a really good space that you could start getting into, start doing research on. Get your Oculus, get your virtual reality gear, and start walking around to see what you like, what you don't like. I know people that have t-shirt shops in VR space, and you order it sort of like Ready Player One. I'd tell you to go watch that movie as well. So they're in the virtual reality world, see what they want, and it comes to them in real life, just like in Ready Player One. Do your research. That's some good stuff. Anything else that we have?
Yeah, this person also has a question about Bitcoin, which I am going to encourage them to contact you since that's a little bit outside of our scope today, but Eddie's an expert for sure. Okay, so
Find it on that. You can find my book on Amazon. Sorry, I didn't
okay,
miss.
yeah, somebody had asked that question as well. Thank you. So this person is a Soul Member LLC consultancy and wants to do business nationally. So how would they market nationally versus locally?
Once you leave your local space, you're thinking globally. You're marketing to everybody, right? So you want to start to understand what your demographic is, what your geography is, what spaces are going to be yours. Because if I live in Podunk, am I going to be interested in your services, or is it that I need to be in a big or medium-sized city? So understand where your customers are at, and that's how you get started.
All right. Well, that wraps our questions for today, Eddie, and we are right on time. So thank you so much to Eddie for jam-packed information session here today. And thank you to all of you who have asked fantastic questions as well. And we appreciate all of you. I would add that we have an evaluation, webinar evaluation that will appear on the screen when I shut things down here. And we always love to get your feedback and hear about how things went today and what you would like to know more about in the future. And with that, I will, go ahead and say goodbye, Eddie.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for all these questions. I do have one question that might not be on that evaluation flyer, which is, would you want me to come back and do more webinars? That's a serious question that I have. Something else that we're going to be doing that I didn't announce, this webinar and others will be hosted on our site, Grow My Bag, and you will be able to learn things as well as take exams to test yourself on things. All right. Everybody, please let me know if you need anything. I look forward to working with you all. I'm always available. Have a good one. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.